Right now, we're joined by Maine State Representative Laurel Libby. We've spoken with her before. She is really standing up to the machine there in the state because your governor, your legislature, sadly, they're bound and determined to force men into women's private spaces, boys into girls' spaces, I should say. Even it's minors that we're talking about. And there, even your governor said to Donald Trump, "We'll see you in court." And I guess that's exactly what's going to happen. Laurel Libby, thanks for joining us. What now in the state of Maine?
Thank you so much for having me today. Well, I am currently in D.C. because yesterday Attorney General Bondi announced a lawsuit against my state for allowing biological males to participate in girls' sports and defy Title IX, longstanding federal law, and continue discriminating against Maine women and girls. That's really what this is discrimination against Maine women and girls by allowing boys to dominate them in sports in our state. And so there is now a reckoning. It's unfortunate that it has come to this. This is a terrible consequence for Maine people, but they are not backing down, and they are sticking to this ideology regardless of consequences.
So I've visited Maine. It's one of the most beautiful states. The people are truly just wonderful people. But I got to ask you, Representative, as you're going around your districts and talking to your constituents, what's their reaction to the Governor Mills' stubbornness, her unwillingness to basically protect girls' sports, and their obsession with the transgender agenda?
Maine people do not support the governor and her stance. That much is very, very clear over the last couple of months as I've interacted with my fellow Mainers. They don't support this stance. They do not want biological males in girls' sports. They think it is ludicrous. And so they definitely don't support her war on biological reality. And polling reflects that. You know, even in a state like Maine, we're a purple state that has currently the trifecta holding the House, the Senate, and the governor's seat. Still, 2/3 of Mainers in polling results show that we don't want to see this ideology in our state.
I can't imagine that this goes over with the people of Maine. They're good people. They're normal people. Is it just not at the top of the agenda, or is the Democrat machine so strong there? And also, who's funding all of that? Are they doing this because they get huge money from out of state from the transgender activists?
Certainly, the Democrat machine is funded by a lot of liberal woke organizations, and that helps drive their campaigns every 2 years. I think they just don't think that they can lose. And I hope that we prove that wrong in 2026. You know, last year in November, we only lost the Republican majority by 60 votes across the entire state. I don't know of any state that's slimmer margins last year than that. If you can just imagine, their House majority sits on that slim of a number, 60 votes. And so that they're ruling Maine with this policy and others as though they have a mandate.
Yeah, I got to ask you, Representative, because I've campaigned up in Maryland. Maryland. Oh, my goodness. We've been talking about Maryland all morning long, Larry. Sorry about that. But we're dealing with a Maryland man. I don't know if you've heard about him from El Salvador. But in Maine, and it's an interesting state because it goes from, you know, what was, I would say, slightly Republican to then you've had the governorships. Obviously, the Republicans have lost several of these governors' race. You have a race coming up in 2026. I mean, would you throw your hat into that governor's race?
Well, I certainly have been asked, and I'm considering all options. At the end of the day, I'll do what I believe is best to advance a more free and prosperous Maine and to work to overcome the tyranny that's been tearing our state down for the last many years.
Well, listen, fighting on the right side of this issue is certainly elevating your profile. You were there at the Justice Department with Riley Gaines and the Attorney General, and you deserve to be seen and heard. But you mentioned that majority in the state, in the House of Representatives there in the state of Maryland, they don't want you seen or heard. They censored you. They censured you because you were speaking out on behalf of women and girls. I thought Maine was, a pretty, pro-woman state. It's amazing how they don't even want you to speak out and have this debate and raise the issue. They tried to silence you.
They did, and I'm not sure if they think that's working out for them at this point, but
Yeah.
they censured me, and what that means for practical effect for folks who don't know, in Maine, it's really quite extreme. Until I apologize, which of course I won't do, because you don't apologize for speaking the truth and speaking up on behalf of women and girls who are being discriminated against. But until I do, I am not allowed to speak or vote on the floor of the House on behalf of my constituents. So my 9,000 constituents have been entirely disenfranchised by this.
And to be clear, this was because there was a high school boy who had finished, like 5th, 6th, 7th place or something in pole vault, then identified as a girl and won the gold medal the next year. And you pointed this out, the absurdity of this.
Yeah, absolutely. He had been participating as a boy, which he is, until June of last year. And then in February of this year, he participated in the girls division, and he won the state championship for pole vault. And talk about
and rather than
women's sports.
But Representative Libby, rather than face that reality and defend themselves, they silence you. They censured you, and they said, stop pointing out the truth. Stop pointing out the facts. This is not going to end well for them. As you just said, you're not sure how it's working out for them. We can see how it's working out for them. You have a bigger platform than ever, and you're going to keep on fighting. Let us know the next fight that comes along there, Laurel Libby, and we're looking forward to talking to you again.
Run, Libby,
Thanks so
run.
much.
Run, Libby, run, says the grand
Run,
dame of
Larry,
CPAC. All right, there you go. Yeah, she's recruiting candidates everywhere today.